Hello everybody, Cat here, bringing you another game. This game is going to be a ZvT. It's going to illustrate how to properly respond to a very aggressive Terran player, especially one that is so aggressive with drops. In this game, I do make a few mistakes. That's going to happen when you're facing somebody who is consistently harassing you, and I mean like throughout the entire game. I never have a chance to move away from my base because he just continuously hits me, one side of the map, then the other side, then two sides at once, that kind of stuff. And he's a very, very aggressive. He's a pretty good player. This is going to be how to properly respond to that and how to properly, know when the right time is to go ahead and move out and counter. So in the beginning here, you're going to see this is Metalopolis in the about I don't know, the 1 o'clock position, spawning as the red Zerg player, of course, and then we have Rain down here on the 3 o'clock position as the blue Terran. Now I am going to start out with a hatch first, of course, since it is ZvT. That's always the correct decision, regardless of what he's doing here. So actually, I think I need to check my sound. I think it's just a little bit too low right now. I can't really hear anything. So I don't know if that's actually any better or not. Yeah, just because I have my speakers turned down. I don't know, but I don't think I really hear anything. Oh well, it doesn't really matter all that much. So, what we're going to see in this game, well, I guess I already kind of said, he's going to be really aggressive with a lot of drops, a lot of bio units and things like that. At this point, I'm getting in. I'm going to get trapped in here. That's not a big deal. I did hatch first at 15. So I see, I didn't see the gas at first, but I do see that I'm walled in, so I'm like, well, fuck it. My choice here is pretty much always the same. I always choose to just take this Vespene Geyser. The reason why I do that is not just because I've got the drone trapped. It's because it actually allows me to see whether or not he is going to do any kind of early bunker pressure or not. And you'll see what I mean here, because this SCV comes up. This is pretty normal to see this SCV poke up here and see that I did go 15 hatch, and he's going to be able to correctly assume that I went 15 pool afterwards. Still no gas. That's totally standard. Pull up the production tab here, and you'll see that I am making my Overlord and 17th drone. But this extractor here is going to be pretty annoying for him. Now, if he had sent, I'm going to pause here for a second. If he had sent his first Marine to this extractor to kill it, then this extractor would be at like 75% by now. So the fact, even though this bunker just went down, I've known that he was going to bunker pressure me for several seconds now. 10, 15 seconds, because I don't see that Marine on this extractor yet. He is not killing it. So I know that he's being aggressive, and I assume it's only on 1 racks. It's possible he could be proxying somewhere else that I don't see, but the fact is this just went down. I was already ready for it. So I do actually choose to pull 5 drones. 3 is actually okay, but I don't know if he's proxying me, and I know that Marine's already on the way, so that's why I choose to pull 5, is because I like to send 3. This is actually 4, but I like to send 3 to get the Marine, while I leave 2 on the SCV here, like maybe 1 on each side. Ideally, actually 3 is best. You have like 1 here, and like 1, like over here or something, but due to the position, 2 is actually okay. It's pretty annoying placement for that. So at this point, I still don't see him attacking this extractor, so I'm still expecting some pressure here. So I've got these lings out. I'm actually producing 2 more lings, just 1 more set, and I do actually move up to see, what his count is. I did actually go a little bit too far there and lost 1 ling, but my queen's out. I got another queen up here. I'm going to probably bring her down, maybe not. No, I guess not. So I'm not really too worried. I feel totally safe, especially with this spine down. And at this point, I assume he's probably backing up, but I'm not 100% sure. I am making drones, though, because I've got exactly 8 Zerglings and a spine crawler. So I'm really safe against pretty much anything except for like an all-in right now. But very shortly here, now that I have my extractor down. I should have 3 in that, but I have one misrallied. I meant to click here and click just a little bit north of it. So that was probably because I was doing that while I was attacking the bunker or these Marines down here, and just was doing it really fast and missed that. So I actually should have my speed down already. I did not know he was going for such a fast third. So you're actually going to see that I'm going to be behind in macro in this game, because right now I am basically just droning heavily on 2 bases, and as you can see, I'm almost fully saturated on my natural. Could use some more in my main here, but now that I'm getting speed and everything, I'm actually just planning on getting a baneling nest down until I see this. So I poked out a little bit. I did see this Hellion. I actually assume that he's on 2 base with Hellions, so it's a little bit sloppy on my part. It is that he is such a greedy Terran player and taking his third so fast. But it doesn't really matter. I am actually sitting very healthily on 2 bases, almost fully saturated. Getting a Roach Warren in case he tries to do any kind of crazy Hellion all in. I think it's just really safe to get that Roach Warren. It's good against anything. Since I probably would have gone Banelings, but since I think I saw the Hellions, I assume he's probably going to be making more, so I'm not getting a Baneling Nest yet. Although I probably will now that I'm taking my second, probably my 3rd gas, and a Roach Warren is finished. You'll probably see the Baneling Nest here any second. At this point, though, I know he's making Hellions, and I think I'm just going to make like 4 or 5 roaches. It's something I like to do because it allows you to gain map control again over Hellion play, allows you to spread creep freely, and allows you to take that third freely, which is the most important thing. I assume he's only on 2 bases, so I want to get that third up as fast as possible. I will actually discover this third, obviously not as early as I should have. I bet I should have had one of these overlords here actually rallied around this direction, which I normally would. I think the reason why I don't is because I was under that little early pressure, and it was just one of those overlords that I rallied right there in the beginning that would have been better off moved around. So some good play on his part. I do send 1 roach up here just to guard. Make sure they didn't have the Hellions up here already. Because it's really annoying if you send that drone and it makes this trip, which isn't really that far, but it is, 10 seconds or so. And if a couple of Hellions are sitting right there and they snipe that drone, it's just really annoying. You got to send another one. So I only made 5 roaches. That's all I really need. Even against 10, 12 Hellions, 5 roaches is actually fine because they take so little damage. Well, they take basic damage, but they take, it's just 8 damage, but they have 145 health each. I thought it was 125. I just learned something. So, yeah, so they have a lot of health, and 145 divided by 8 is a lot. So, basically I'm poking up here a little bit, trying to take these towers. I see all these Hellions come in. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of silly, but I've got these roaches here, so I'm just going to kind of try to get a couple hits on him and force him back. He's going to scout up here and see this third. He's got his third already, and actually, I'm about ready to discover that in just a few seconds. So, still actually behind in macro, but I know that these Hellions are moving around due to that scout ling I had at the bottom of this ramp. I was intentionally left right there just so I could see anything that was moving up to try to do some poking. He's checking these 2 bases to see if I am actually ahead or not. But as I am not aware yet of this third, I don't feel a need to take my 4th. Which is actually going to, yeah, I'm technically behind as far as macro is concerned, but my execution in this game is actually going to keep me ahead, regardless of the macro elements. So you're going to see how important it is to react appropriately to a Terran player, even one that is technically ahead in macro, because I'm not really too concerned about that at this point. So double upgrades is something I really like to do versus Terran. As you can see, I'm focusing on melee because roaches are not the greatest thing in the world. So I think I just got 1 spore in each base just to defend. I haven't seen much else. But these are only a few Hellions. It's not 10 Hellions. It's only 5. And so I'm wondering where else his gas is going, or his minerals. And this is where I figure it out. I figure out that it's going here. So I'm like, holy shit, he's already got his 3rd base. This is actually kind of funny. He was actually moving out, and he sends his entire army back in order to defend this one Zergling that's already dead. So that's pretty funny. It didn't really matter in the end, though. I think I already probably had enough to actually hold him off for long enough to make some units. But so kind of sloppy on his part. But he's going to start pushing up. Now, this is actually the only push that's going to be scary throughout this entire game. And you'll see exactly what I mean. Now, this this is going to prove exactly what I mean by proper reaction. You're going to see me as a Zerg player being behind in macro, about to be attacked by a Terran, and I'm going to make a huge mistake. I assumed, I think because when he had his army moving up, his Hellions were actually up here in the fray of the rest of his army, and I saw them at the Zelnaga Tower. They killed a Ling or something like that. So I actually send these roaches out pretty sloppily to attempt to kill those Hellions, and it's just out of horrible, horrible timing. I just happen to grab that tower and see this whole army, and I just lose like pretty much all of these roaches right here. So I'm poking down, trying to save him a little bit. I'm like, no, that's a horrible idea. Just back up. Holy shit, I just made a huge mistake. But at this point, I'm just making a whole bunch of Zerglings, morphing up a whole bunch more Banelings, and I'm just making roaches on top of that. So only a few roaches. I've not hotkeyed this hatchery, so I've got all of these Zerglings here. So as you can see, I've got many mistakes. A little sloppy play, but it still doesn't matter. Even against a Terran that's ahead, I actually managed to react appropriately. So I sent a few. Okay, the reason why I did that, even though that looked sloppy, that was actually part of that was intentional. I knew he had siege tanks down here. And I had all my Banelings and stuff up here to try to stop this aggression. What I really don't want him to do is to start attacking into my main here, because then if I send my army up this direction to fight it, he can send his army in this direction to, try to multi-prong these two bases. So I actually sent just a few Zerglings down this direction to take the brunt of these siege tank hits and then get fought by this army, while I used all of these guys to kill what he had up here on the top. So now his army is just in one place, which is what you want as a Zerg player. You want his army to be in one place. So now that I've reconsolidated everything, I'm moving in. I try to use those Banelings to target the Marines. Don't do it quite perfectly. Still taking a lot of hits. Meant for those Zerglings to kill the siege tanks, but still didn't quite manage to do that. Now he is reinforcing this. Obviously I'm doing nothing right now but producing more units, and this is what I mean. This is the scary push. If I'd had this hatchery hotkeyed, then I think this would be over, because I guess I don't have a lot of money floating, but I would have had a lot more production earlier, and this army I think would have been part of my last army. So I go in here to do a little bit more damage. I know his siege tanks are down there, so I don't want to fight past that point, but I'm just glad he picked up and moved back. So I'm not really too concerned. I have a lot of this stuff here. I should be getting, yeah, I knew I was getting Infestor Tech, but I didn't see it. So actually not doing a whole lot right now besides producing units. As you can see, I'm still just on 4 gas, which is actually okay, because I'm getting my upgrades and I have a lot of minerals, so I'm just getting a lot of Lings right now, and just trying to hold off this push. And I keep some of these units back because I see how small of an army this is right here, so I'm expecting him to do some drop push, and I'm really just trying to buy time so I can get more of an army up. And when I realized that he wasn't actually doing any more drops up here, I bring some of those guys down to try to fend off, and then he did drop over here, so it actually paid off a little bit. So I'm just biding my time. As you can see, I'm not overreacting. I'm just slowly just building units, building a few more drones, even because I know I'm safe. I got an extra queen down here on my 4th. I assume, he's putting a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort into doing this, and obviously he is, because he's floating some money. So I'm really just biding my time, just playing it safe, and I'm just reacting as I should. I'm not freaking out and throwing a whole bunch of units at him at the wrong times. I'm just killing off a little bit by a little bit and just biding my time. Keeping the roaches alive is really important, because Zerglings are cheap. Zerglings are very cheap, and they're easy to produce. Roaches are more expensive. They use gas. They're basically my tanky units, and they make my army look a lot stronger and actually be a lot stronger. So, it's really good that I'm keeping these roaches alive, kind of fighting with what Zerglings I have, and when the Zerglings I have, the buffer, die, then I just kind of pull back and buy myself a little more time. So, now he's just being really annoying. I'm fighting this army down here, finally crushing it at I knew it was the right time to move in. I had enough roaches to buffer damage. I'd actually held off a lot, but he's actually got these guys down here being super annoying. Luckily they are targeting the hatchery, so my queen's actually doing some work there. But at this point, I'm like, holy shit, I want to save that base. He does actually kill that queen, but I have this army moving down. Now I could have actually probably sent less than this amount of units this way, but whatever, it didn't really matter a whole lot, as I am, rallying more units in, and he kind of sloppily had just had his barracks rallied down this direction anyway. So I'm taking out a few more units. He is doing this ridiculous drop shit because he knew that my army was over here, so he's dropping here. And I'm going to come in anyway because I was still pulling my army back into the correct location. Do a little flank here so that my Zerglings come in at the same time that my roaches do, and he picks up and pulls away. So what I want to illustrate right now, I'm going to pause this and look at the units lost tab. I actually am behind by just a little bit, and that's because of that sloppy, basically I had to buy a lot of time. He was ahead in macro. So even though I didn't have this fourth base saturated. I didn't really need it. I did have the fourth base for production purposes, but I wasn't really injecting it a lot. I wasn't really doing a whole lot. I was really just barely even with him. To be honest, like I'd be a little ahead if I had any kind of drones on this, but because I had the hatchery, I had the production capabilities, and I was fully saturated on 3 base, I was actually doing just fine. So I was buying my time. He had the earlier advantage because of how quickly he took the 3rd, but the longer it took for him to move in and actually try to kill me, the better it was for me because of my production capabilities. So basically I was just sitting back, letting these drones do all the work for me, and just slowly biding my time. So the resources lost is actually in favor of him at this point, but you're going to see that change here shortly, and you're going to see me just start to pull ahead. So I'm aware of this dropship here. I'm not aware that it's empty, but I know it's there, so I'm being a little careful. I'm staying back. I'm waiting for him to try to move in. Again, you don't see me overreacting. I'm not building spores and spines all over the place. I'm not doing a whole lot. I could do that and it'd be totally fine, but I'm not that worried about it. So this is actually going to get pretty annoying here. I do have some units coming down to try to save this hatchery because I know how low it is. I do just barely save it with 1 HP. Because I did see him actually moving out with this tower. But at this point, I already know. I'm actually going to back up a little bit. I already know. I can already tell based on the style of this player that was a small engagement here, and then I knew he was going to be pushing back here. So I had the infestors coming out. They were actually popping out right here at this point, and they were actually rallied to about this point, to this position right here, because I knew his army would be coming soon. So I just did this, and I'm expecting it. I moved these guys back, but I was actually focused on this at the moment. But that's a great fungal right there. I'm trying to delay him as long as possible. I do lose, I think, 1 or 2 infestors there, but this army is so damaged that I can easily just clean it up here with just these roaches and a few zerglings. So I am actually chasing him back, trying to force him away from my base. At this point, units lost tab still in favor of him, but it's stayed about equal. It's been about the same amount since that early aggression. So now this medvac's moving back. I'm kind of watching it. I don't think I waste fungals killing this. Yeah, it'd be a bad idea, I think, because I've only got 6 infestors, and only 3 of them have enough energy for fungals. So I don't really want to waste it on that 1 medvac. Since this only has 19 health, I do actually throw down a ridiculous number of spine crawlers right here. And then in the back as well, because I know I'm starting to adapt to his playstyle, and that's the key. I can tell this guy likes to do a lot of multi-prong aggression. He likes to send small armies in one direction and then a big army in another. I do actually transfuse it there to give it a little more health, but my main goal here is to try to protect this hatchery, and I'm taking another one as an insurance policy. I'm not really worried about getting this saturated right now. I probably will do that once this base is more mined out than it is right now, but I'm actually doing just fine. I do know that he has this base. I don't think I'm aware of this one. No, I'm not. But okay, so back to the game. He is dropping here, being a little annoying. So I do actually leave half my army here. Why? Because I saw this medvac, and I had most of my army over in this direction, or all of it, to push there, and then he attacks in the back here. So I actually am adapting to his playstyle. Not microwing very well, but am doing this, killing this base. Have my hive down, so I'm actually working on getting my spire up and my broodlord tech. But meanwhile, I'm just letting my infestors chill right here. They're not hotkeyed into the same group as the rest of my army. They're in their own hot group. And I'm just keeping them back so that they can defend the key areas of my map, the key points where he's going to try to engage in. And other than that, I have some army here, some army here. I actually left, I pulled more. I had a lot more stuff in this corner a little while ago. But now I just leave like 1 roach and a few zerglings just to buy myself enough time in case he does try to move out. So now I'm feeling a little happy. I've got 200, 200. I know I'm safely on 5 bases, so I feel like it's a good time to start pushing out. And right now I'm going to learn about this 6th base from him. So you're going to see me, bring my infestors in with the rest of my army. I'm going to start pushing up a little bit, and I'm basically going to try to do a little bit of pullback while I hit these guys here. So I did get a fungal off, and then I move forward. Now he's very intelligently bringing the rest of this army back, trying to get a flank off. My infestors are badly positioned, but I'm going to lose a couple here, but I do get a couple fungals off, and I'm basically just going to clean up the rest of his army. So I did lose a couple more infestors. I've only got 5 left. But this command center is going to have to be, the planetary fortress is going to have to be canceled. He's going to have to lift off. But as it's burning right now, I'm feeling like, okay, I'm not really too worried. He can't do much right now besides drop me. I know that Overlord or that medvac's there, but again, I'm not really too worried because I feel like as long as I'm putting pressure on, he's not going to be able to do a lot with what he had. And I think the units that I had here got killed, so I was intelligently able to send some more units over. But luckily, because of the defense that I put here, I was able to kill any sort of additional attack he had. Now, I do make a blunder here because these are in a different hotkey. In the heat of the moment, I'd used my main army hotkeys, 1 and 2, to send my army back, and I left my infestors here. So you're going to see him actually kill these in just a second as he moves up here just to try to take a little bit of control. He's going to see these infestors, a couple of EMPs, bam, bam, and he's just going to kill those. So that kind of sucks, blunder on my part. But now that I've got corruptors, I totally have air control, and this is where the game starts to take turn in my favor. So now he's finally, I'm finally winning on the resources lost, and this is really where the game turns around for me. Even though I've had it in control for the last 10-15 minutes, I want to say 10 minutes, basically after that first attack. Like I said, I didn't overreact. I played it safe. I kind of stayed back and just waited until the right moment. Now he is just moving right in here. My creep spread is not very good in this game, and it's because I'm reacting to his pressure the whole time. I could have better creep spread. I could keep him from doing these kind of things, but this is where he just starts to make dumb mistakes. By moving in and targeting this hatchery. Look at how much farther ahead. Just a second ago I was only 1,000 ahead on resources lost. Now I'm 4,000 ahead. So he just threw away. He just gave me 3,000 free resources. Yes, it's annoying I lost this hatchery, but is it 3,000 resources annoying? No. I didn't lose very many drones. I'm still doing enough aggression. He does kill both of these queens here. I don't think he manages to do much else, though, because my corruptors move in. They take out these medvacs, which are really, really important for him in the late game, and I clean up the rest of that army. So at this point, I've got a decent number of broodlords. It looks like 7, including the ones that are morphing in. Enough corruptors to keep air control in my favor. I'm taking a gold base, and I know that he's got this one now. At this point, I know that this is one of the last remaining bases that can possibly have minerals for him. I know that mine's mined out in my natural, mine's mined out in my main. My third is just going back up, but it's almost mined out too. And I know that his actually went down before mine, so he's got to have less resources in his third than me. So my broodlords are actually coming in here to poke at this base and kill all of these workers that he's got. And at this point, I'm still not creep spreading very well, so I'm not aware that this army is moving up. But as he comes in here and tries to do some damage, he's going to be met with a lot of spines. A few more morphing in, but they're not quite going to have time to finish. But it just buys me enough time. He is going to snipe that hatchery. Again, really annoying. He's keeping my production down. But intelligently, I am leaving these broodlords and these corruptors here. I don't actually move them away. I'm not overreacting. I know that I need defense on this side of the base because of his strategy and his plan of attack. And I know he's going to be moving. I know he's going to be doing exactly this. So what do? I move this army to the left side. Why? Because I saw him attack on this side. So I'm basically, my point here is, as I pause this, is I'm reacting to his playstyle. Yes, he's being very annoying, killing these hatcheries, killing this hatchery. I think he's going to snipe this gold too. But I'm not losing my main army. And you can see now on the resources lost, I'm ahead by almost 7,000. Actually, no, almost 8,000. So basically, I had these broodlords just sitting right here, and if he had moved in with this army at this point and they were still just sitting there while I was repositioning my main army again, he could easily just snipe all of these. But because of his playstyle, because I know, okay, he's hitting me on one side, then he hits me on the other, then he hits me on this side, then he hits me on the other, and I know he's gone here already, and he's gone here already, and I moved my main army down here, I moved this army back. I'm going to go back and show it again. So you can see exactly on my cam how I react to this. I'm going to hit play, speed this up a little bit because I went back too far. I tend to do that a lot. But you'll see, okay, so I'm going to do this pressure a little bit here with these broodlords. This is where he's moving up on the left side. Okay, right there. Yep. So I send my main army back, and then I pull these guys back to this point in the base, and then right when I'm about ready to finish killing this army and rebuild that that hatchery, yep, I just queued it up right there. And I'm going to finish killing this, and I've already, even without looking at my Broodlord army, I used the hotkey and clicked over here somewhere so that I could get them closer, still keeping them in the center of the map area where I know they're safer, and can easily, more easily defend other sides of the map that I need to defend. The point is, I know, even though I don't see it, even though I haven't scouted it, I know he's going to be moving up right here, and guess what? He is. It's not quite up as far as I was thinking he might be, but I was anticipating this exact move, which is exactly the kind of reaction you should have when you're playing the reactionary race. It's not just reacting to how his build is and what kind of units he's making, but also reacting to exactly how he's playing. And his strategy here is to hit me on either side and throw me off completely. And so in doing that, I'm just not letting him kill this main Broodlord army, which is my game-winning army right now. And he's just continuing to waste entire armies right now trying to kill my production when I really don't need the production anymore. Look at me. I mean, I'm sitting at 200 supply. I've got my Broodlord army. I've got my Corruptors to support. I'm making even more Broodlords, which honestly I think I can't. I'm pretty sure I cancel some of these because I realized that I need more Corruptors here in a second. He's even throwing down a nuke right now. I'm trying to do something, and my Broodlords are flying right over it, but I realize what's going on, and I pull them back, luckily with enough time. I think I do lose like one Broodlord here. No, don't even lose a Broodlord. So, obviously, this is the point in the game where I know that I can kill him. Why? Because even though I can't see this resources lost tab in the game, I know that he's just thrown away one army, two armies, three armies for hatcheries. And what do hatcheries cost? 300 minerals. So I've lost, even if I lost a few drones, whatever, drones are cheap too, especially in the late game, it's not going to make a huge difference. And when I'm sitting on 200 supply, yeah, look at my money, it's low. If I pull up the income tab, yeah, it's low. I only have 47 harvesters. I'm getting half, well, not half, maybe 75% of the income that he's got, but I know that my army is ridiculously strong compared to his because he just threw away 3 armies in a row. Trying to bait me, and because I've held off each one of his attacks without losing the main Roach army and then making Broodlords behind it, I know at this point there's no possible way that he can hold off this attack. So this is what I'm talking about, knowing the right time to attack. And even though I can't see this tab, I mean, this illustrates it perfectly. I've lost almost half as much as him at this point in the game. 22,000 to almost 40,000, that's almost half. Just because of proper reaction. And he's going to get frustrated here and BM me a little bit, but I mean, honestly, you gotta. Okay, so to explain properly, I mean, look at this. I mean, yeah, you're going to get kind of pissed when you see 13 Broodlords moving in on your base. But I know that, why am I moving in straight for the main? Because this is where his production is. If I know that he's got this base up, I know that he's got this base up, I know they have minerals there, but what am I afraid of right now with 13 Broodlords? Vikings, right? He's got 4 already, and this is where his starports are at, and I know that. So this is why I choose attack on this side of the base. It's a little bit of an aside, but the reason why he's so mad is because he feels like he outplayed me because he killed all of these bases, but what he doesn't realize is that he threw away so much more than me. He was beating me in the resources lost, and because I handled it properly, because I didn't overreact, and because I reacted correctly to each one of his choices, hitting me and kind of doing the same thing throughout the entire game, I've way out-teched him, I've way out-produced him, and I've way out armied him, if that's even a word. So I know that there's no way he can kill this, and he says all they're do is play defense. I say, well, no, you played well. He did. You played well, but honestly, I played better. I knew exactly what he was going to do. I knew exactly, as his strategy never changed, and he did basically the same exact, ground army kind of 3-3 type thing. 3-3 ground army in the late game, still doesn't have like a massive amount of, he's not making Thors, he's not making lots of siege tanks, he's not making any major air besides his med bags for drops. All he's trying to do is kill my production when, yeah, killing my third is great. Killing my natural is even better if you can manage to do that in the first 10 minutes of the game. But if you let Zerg freely take this many bases and produce that much and throw away that much army without actually saving your own, then you're just going to get outproduced. I mean, this is just a massive collection of tier 3 units here versus 4 tier 3 units for him, if you can call Vikings tier 3 units. And the fact is, at this point in the game, I could have won with mass Zergling. It didn't matter. It's strictly just the fact that I've reacted appropriately to each one of his attacks. And yes, even though he is BMing me at this point, you have to you have to see his thought process on this whole thing is that he feels like he outplayed me because of all those snipes. But every time he sniped a base and killed maybe 300 to 1,000 minerals worth of units, he's not killing my gas heavy units, and that's really where the late game matters. That's really, what matters in the late game is how many gas heavy units you have. And what did he have? Mostly Marines, and his only gas heavy units were, I wouldn't even say gas heavy, but his only gas units were those Marauders, and then these 4 Vikings that he's got here. So he just can't possibly stop this amount of Broodlords and this amount of Roaches just to back it up. Even if he starts producing nothing but Vikings with 5 starports right now with reactors, these Roaches are just going to move through his bases one by one and just start killing everything. Meanwhile, I'm gonna take this gold. I'm gonna take these bases. Well, I wouldn't take these bases, but once I kill these bases, I'm gonna start taking these bases for myself and just continue to mass up. Even though I don't even really need them, as my gold's almost finished again, and I'm just gonna clean them up. So this is hopefully this was a good game to illustrate that even when you're behind in the beginning, it really doesn't matter as long as you trade efficiently as Zerg, because that amount of money that I fell behind in the beginning, I more than probably double, triple, quadrupled it in the late game just by making intelligent unit decisions and getting the Corruptors to get the air control, then making Broodlords as I had the right to, and making sure that he didn't actually kill too much of my army, so that way, even though my production was hindered by his multi-prong attacks, it didn't matter nearly as much because I didn't need the production, because I already had the units, I'd already produced them, and I wasn't losing them where he was. So he needed that production. He needed the money to continue to produce units and to continue to try to out macro me. But simply put, even though he was ahead on bases in the beginning of the game, he fell behind in army in the late game. So hopefully you guys liked this video. Let me know. Obviously, I didn't play. It wasn't a perfect game on my part by any means. If you have any criticisms or anything about my stream and stuff like that, or about these instructional videos, feel free to post them. But anything that you have to say about my perfection and my play in this game, just keep it to yourself, because this is not a game to illustrate a perfect strategy or a perfect execution on any part. This is just a game to illustrate how to react to something that throws you off so much in the early game and actually is completely unorthodox that your opponent might do to try to gain an early advantage, and how to react to that appropriately in the best way that you possibly can. So it was never going to be perfect, but if you play smart, and if he can't have this because he's doing this, then this is the kind of play that you can expect, and this is the kind of ending you can expect to have. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you think, and good luck. See you guys next time.